Hey, welcome to the podcast. I'm your host, Undina, and this is episode number 001. I boldly titled it that because I want them to be in the triple digits one day. Yeah, let's see if that works out. If you're watching this on YouTube and you're already wondering why I'm wearing a beanie while I'm inside, well, it's because I'm shivering because I got the plague that shall not be named. And I'm one of these people who are just restless and I just can't stay in bed. I did that for 2 days and I just felt terrible and my back started hurting and I just couldn't lie down anymore. So that's why we're here now and I'm recording the first episode. It's actually not the first episode, it's the 8th episode. And the thing is that the first time I recorded episode 001, I did it in almost complete darkness in the ground floor of a French city house, which was not optimal for the sound or the video quality. And I felt like I just didn't want to do this to you guys. So this is me walking the extra mile. I hope you like it. And now let me introduce you to the podcast, because this first episode is just me ranting a little bit, talking about social media and videography and what I hate about all the stuff that is already out there and what I want to do differently and why I believe there's something missing in this niche or just in the whole vlogger and videographer scene. So I'm a small creator, right? I have 2,000 followers right now on YouTube and I don't consider myself successful in any way. But I think that this is actually what I bring to the table in this content area. Because when I look at podcasts and YouTube channels of YouTube or social media experts and videography experts, not so much, most of them are sincere, but a lot of these coaches just seem like super sleazy and misleading to me. First of all, their content is kind of repetitive, and if you heard one, you kind of know them all. It's just always stay consistent, publish or perish, upload regularly, get a good mic. Yeah, we all know that. That's not how you blow up on YouTube. There's a secret ingredient that I'm gonna reveal at some point in the video. Don't even try finding it in the chapters because I want you to keep watching or listening in a podcast app right now. But let's start at the beginning. Sometimes when I'm listening to these kind of videos or podcasts or whatever format it is, I just get this burst of inspiration as in, dude, I actually have to say something about this. And then sometimes I start writing. It was the same this time. I started writing a little rant about why I use open source software and why I prefer it, especially over shit like Apple products. And yeah, we're gonna shit on Apple products in this podcast at least once per episode. So if you're an Apple user, just come to the dark side. We also have dysfunctional software, but it actually shows you an error message. And we have cookies. And we have tools that prevent websites from putting cookies on your computer. Dude, this would be like the perfect spot for a sponsorship from one of these VPN providers, right? If this podcast gets big, I promise you guys, I'm gonna partner with some VPN service. Anyway, so I was listening to a lot of these podcasts recently because I'm trying to figure out my YouTube game as well. And so I started writing this little article and at some point it just hit me and I was like, dude, I can just record this for you guys, so maybe I can upload it just for members or just make a podcast. Why not? Because what all of these influencer and social media expert formats have in common is that all of them have already made it, and they have made it way before my and your time, because they started, I don't know, a few years ago. They're already there at a few 100,000 subscribers and they make a living off of this. You and me, we don't. If you do, while listening to this. So I thought it would be cool, just to be cocky, if I make it one day, to start from scratch and not start recording when I'm already at a better place. Because, even if you just have a 50,000 subscribers, you can already make some good money. It depends on, what your niche is and what you do and how many sponsorships you do. And I thought, I think I can get there at some point. I really do. When I finally start publishing more than one video in 2 months, maybe. And so this is a little bit of a diary, but I also want to give something back. Because when you do this, when you start creating content online, you often have the problem that you already see what is kind of shitty in other people's content, but you still make a lot of mistakes yourself. So when I'm critiquing others, I'm not saying that I'm better. I just say I see what they do wrong. I'm not saying I have already perfectly implemented it, but I already see it. And that's something that's, for instance, different to when I was a total beginner. I did not see other people's mistakes, nor did I see my own. Now I see some of my own and other people's mistakes. And I even see like very professional videos, and I'm like, I would have done this differently. Even though I know just from a technical standpoint, for instance, because I don't have a drone or I don't have a certain lens or the possibility for someone else to film me. I know I can't do it, right? But I still know, oh, this is not optimal. And to be honest, I just like sharing that kind of thing. I just like sharing something that I've learned, and I enjoy when someone else gets something out of it. So if you watch this on YouTube and you do, then let me know. Also, I want to provide something that, without being cheesy, is authentic. Because I think, especially as a beginner creator, you're always searching for these kinds of tips. But what this will lead you to with any search environment will be the most popular content. The most popular content is not always the best content though, and most certainly not the most authentic content. Instead, it's just the most digestible and easy, but easy is rarely a solution or a path to success. I don't think that success really comes easy to anyone, except maybe some rich kids. And that goes for life, for everything, including YouTube. I remember when I was in university, I was studying physics. I'm a physicist. I was sometimes writing SEO texts. That means search engine optimized text. They are made to lead people to certain websites, texts, and stuff. And then these websites can roll out ads and track you and collect all your data and give it to Google and make money. And the website that ranks first on Google is not often the best information. And I'm telling that as someone who has looked for solutions to programming problems, for instance. And I have found so many crappy solutions when, in the end, when I managed to solve the problem myself, which is usually how it goes, like I look something up on Stack Exchange or I Google it, and the first thing that pops up is some lengthy, slow piece of code. And then in the end, I'm just so unsatisfied with it that I do myself, and it turns out to be a one-liner or a three-liner or something. And it gets me thinking, are all of these people just completely stupid, or is it Google? But I had this happen so much that, I don't know. And it's the same with the university. A lot of math problems. You find so much crap online. I prefer to use books to look up math problems. I prefer books for anything that has to do with physics. Because there is so much wrong bullshit out there. But anyway, so I think that a lot of people get this information and then it just becomes mainstream and everybody does it because everyone thinks that, oh, if I just post consistently, eventually I'll make it on YouTube. No, you won't. No, the secret tip is not coming yet. It's like with Munich. That's a city I live in. I don't particularly like it here. And the reason for that is that people just seem to love to comment on stuff that you do in public. And I think it's weird. I'm more like a minding my own business person, and I don't like it when others don't mind their own business. And I hate it when people make my business their business. If I hear someone talk on the phone loudly in a public place and I don't enjoy listening to their conversation, I'm just gonna go somewhere else because it's a public space. I don't own it. But here, people feel a little bit entitled, I believe. And they seem to enjoy telling others what to do a little bit too much for my taste. And when I say this publicly, usually people in Munich are like, oh, but this is not the Munich I know. Or, what kind of people did you meet? That's on you. You're weird. We're all awesome. And none of your experience is valid because I experienced something different. Good for you. I don't give a shit. And I personally will never get this because when somebody doesn't like my hometown, I'm gonna be like, why though? Because it's a cute little town. Like, what don't you like about it? And people actually told me that about my hometown, they don't like that it's so small and you kind of meet the same people over and over again, and it's not very anonymous. And I would never be like, well, that's not true. Yeah, it's true. It's a 200k inhabitants town, so of course that's true. But anyway, guess why so many people outside Germany think that the quality of life is very good and one of the best in Munich, even though that's not true. Renting an apartment here is super expensive. It's one of the most expensive places in Germany. It's also not really safer than other cities in Germany, because all cities in Germany are pretty safe, especially if you're American. Like, all of our cities are super safe. Anyway, after doing a little bit of digging online, I found that there are actually a lot of SEO texts having these lists about the safest cities or the best cities, or I don't know, just lists of awesome cities in Germany, like where to live. And they're targeting foreigners that want to come here, maybe exchange students or people who just want to move to Germany for some reason, because we have free health insurance and stuff. And so for some reason in all of these texts, maybe because they're all copying each other, which is the same thing as like all the YouTube coaches do, Munich always ranks super high in these statistics. And I've read some of these texts, and some of the stuff in there is just wrong, but they all still rank top in Google, and they probably mislead a lot of foreigners believing that Munich is super awesome. Munich and Hamburg, the most expensive city in Germany, I believe. Like, is there a city more expensive than Hamburg? Probably not. And when I Google what's the most expensive city in Germany right now, it's probably not even showing an accurate result, because what does that even mean? If you never go for a coffee, then the cost of coffee is not interesting to you, right? If you have a car and you go with your car everywhere, it matters if there are large distances and if you can actually live inside the city. But if you like public transport, and the public transport is really cheap in that city, all of these make huge differences. For me, Munich is never going to be number one. My favorite city in Germany is actually Cologne, and then comes Berlin, like minus all the hipsters. If you could just snap your finger and they'd be all gone, Berlin would be awesome again. And I know Berlin from a time when there weren't as many. So maybe that is why people get so defensive when you criticize Munich, because they know some old Munich that I just don't. But honestly, why would I care about that? So we're not only going to shit on Apple products, we're also going to shit on Munich occasionally in this podcast. Anyway, all I wanted to say is that a lot of these experts have optimized things like that to lead you to what they believe is the best solution for something. But it might not be the best solution for you, because what all of them had is not just consistency or good quality content, it's luck. That's the secret ingredient to blow up on any platform. I had a video go viral on TikTok and I have zero idea why. It has over 300,000 views right now, and I don't even think it's funny. I think it's stupid. I showed it to a bunch of friends and they were like, yeah, but this is funny, this is relatable. And I was like, how? This is dumb. I posted this as a filler video because, I didn't want to be forgotten by the algorithms. And this is also a real problem for me, because I prefer creating over just consuming content. And I also think that this isn't wrong. Just sometimes you have to, step outside of your comfort zone and your box and look around. But I like to compare it to afternoon art school, which is a thing I went to in Germany. It's like art lessons that you have after school. And I went there for 11 years or something, for a long time. And I learned a lot in this art school about drawing hands and dead stuff and vases and glass and naked people, and then later also painting techniques. And I didn't have to go to art galleries on a daily basis just to find inspiration. I found inspiration from my environment and from within. And I don't think that you need constant input to generate output. In fact, I believe that if you're not creative and you don't have it in you to generate interesting thoughts and discussion-provoking content, then you shouldn't be on YouTube. There's enough crappy, low-quality user content already on the internet, and I don't think we need any more of it. So think about it. Do YouTube advice channels really have your best interest in mind? Or do they want to sell their courses? Because first of all, providing low-level helpful content is easy. because 99% of YouTube creators are really bad at creating YouTube videos. And so it's easy to blow some beginner's mind by saying you should publish consistently and you should up your editing game and do fast edits and make it look nice and use color grading and white balance your stuff. Like, there are still people who think this is novel and interesting. There are just so many beginners out there, and I don't know. I don't want to sell anything. This isn't even my niche. I just like talking about this because it's a little bit like a diary. I want to document what I'm going through, what I have learned, and I honestly just like sharing. And I'm not saying that there are not advice channels out there which are the same. I just don't think that the competence level of YouTube experts can be compared with real life experts, as in people who are, I don't know, neurosurgeons or theoretical particle physicists. That is an area of expertise. Having built a YouTube channel 5 years ago and now being a big creator, maybe you had an expertise on how to do that 5 years ago or 4 or 3 when you blew up. Now that advice is outdated. You don't have the perspective of a beginner creator anymore. Maybe if you work with a lot of beginners, you do. But I believe that a lot of these channels also don't share the hundreds of stories of their students. Course participants would be the better word. Stop stealing terminology from academics, right? We don't like to study 6 years and do a PhD for another 3 to 5 and then do more time as a postdocs just so some dumbass without a degree calls their website a university. Just don't, maybe, is pretty silly. So what they're not sharing with you are all the non-successful stories. They're only sharing the good stuff with you. And this just pisses me off because I think leaving out information is lying. I mean, at least in this part of the internet. You don't have to share all your personal shit and stuff, of course. But when you leave this part out, like just how many beginners are actually unsuccessful, and you can look that statistic up. Like, trust me, like it's in the few % range of people that can actually make a living on YouTube. Just look up how many have 100K followers and more, because that is roughly when you will start making a living on YouTube. Just look how many creators there are compared to the total amount of channels, and then you come back to me with that number, because I believe it's like 1 or 2%. And so these odds are so bad that just leaving out the huge amount of luck that you need to discover and just claiming that it's just hard work, being consistent, and no. There are so many people out there who work hard and are consistent, but they don't have 2 things or 3 things, like a really cool personality, epic, awesome content, and luck, because that's what it takes. And there are some things more. I'm going to talk about this in future episodes, but yeah, I just wanted to get that off my chest because I feel like just a lot of these influencers are just inauthentic and not talking about the real struggles of influencers, because frankly they don't face them anymore, and they make it sound easy because now it's easy for them. And it's probably not even easy for them. They have to come up with new scary stuff all the time and make it sound like it's something novel. And, you know, like, I can't imagine lying to my own face like this, because, like, I'm sitting in front of my camera here, and I'm like, I could not tell you guys without laughing at myself that you can make it on YouTube by simply putting in the work. No, that's not going to be enough. Also, all these update videos and stuff, when they come out with, oh, YouTube changed, this is huge update, blah, blah, blah. No, none of this stuff will make you blow up. And none of this stuff is magic or a hack or a trick or anything. It's always just gonna be epicness, personality, and luck. And yeah, good gear. Like, don't let anyone trick you in, oh, you can do it all on your iPhone. If iPhones were so great to record video, then why are movies not recorded on iPhone? Like, there's a time and place for video recorded on your phone, and I'm gonna tell you right here what it is. It's in an emergency situation when someone is harassing you, or film-wise, when you are out of a camera, you have your battery died, and there is just this epic moment and you have no other way than recording it on your phone. But in 100% of all other situations, a real camera is the number one choice. I'm also going to get into that in future episodes, because I feel it's another one of these lies that people tell you about success on YouTube and quality content on YouTube. And that's it, you guys. I hope you stay tuned for the upcoming episodes, and goodbye. Tschüss. Wir sehen uns. Mach's gut. Schönen Tag noch. Stupid dog. If you love Munich, that's a you problem. I don't. I've left my bike without a lock several times, and people didn't even bother stealing it, mostly because it's a cheap bike.